King Cole brings us Unforgettable, and so that forces right into that unforgettable Wednesday morning program called Viewpoint, program with personalities, politicians, and perspectives. Well, we have some great personalities, and we have perspective this morning. Mrs. Busby, if by your leave, if I may start as we usually do on Wednesday mornings, kudo.
Yes, please.
And I think you would concur in this. The Lincoln Area Musical Society put together a great program on Saturday and Sunday. Unfortunately, and this is a kind of a little comeuppance to you folks, you sat on your duffs and didn't get out there, and you missed a really great program. The thing that impresses me, Judith K., is that not only these folks have individual talents with their instruments and their singing abilities, but they put a lot of time in rehearsal.
Oh my, I can't imagine the work it takes to prepare for something like that.
Yeah, I when I looked out and I didn't see that many people in the audience, and I thought, gee, boy, that's too bad. Anyway,
well, but those that were there,
yes,
you and me, for instance, enjoyed every second of it. It's just so worthwhile.
Well, it was well balanced and a variety of different tunes and music and a lot of talent there. So anyway, kudos to those folks.
You betcha.
Now, our good friend Joe Shaler, who has done such great work for the veterans and getting formed, our Veterans Assistance Office opened here. He's done a great job. And he sent me an email, and he said, they wanted to pass this along in case you want to mention it. Well, of course we want to mention it on Wednesday's show. On Thursday at 9:30 at the State House Senate floor, there will be a ceremony having to do with the Military Order of the Purple Heart Chapter 159. And Representative Tim Butler and Senator Brady will be there proclaiming the proclamation naming Illinois a Purple Heart State. That's something to be recognized.
Yes.
A lot of Purple Hearts, maybe a scratch on the flight line or a nick on the rifle sight. A lot of Purple Hearts, very, very, very serious. So thanks to Joe for mentioning that to us. That would be tomorrow morning at 9:30 at the State House on the Senate floor.
It's very nice to hear that they're going to do something good in Springfield. Maybe I should just stop with, it's nice to know they're going to do something in Springfield.
Yeah. Well, but they've taken it away from it isn't our legislators that are doing this. This is somebody else. So yeah, let's don't get started on that, because we have Leonard and Bill, and we want to talk about something really important, because
they're nice people.
Yeah, I guess. Obviously, the folks that are serving us down in Springfield don't think too much of us. So anyway,
they don't think much of us.
Well, not necessarily.
Well, I guess not.
Not necessarily me and thee, but I'm talking about the taxpayers in general.
Well, there are two sides to that coin too, right?
Right.
Anyway, they're here today, Leonard, Krusemark, and Bill Sahs, and we are going to talk about Habitat for Humanity. This is going to be their 25th anniversary.
That's correct.
They are building currently their 21st house.
That is correct.
And you know, that's all volunteering. All volunteering. And my daughter has explained to me a little bit about how they're able to keep the ball rolling. May
I interrupt a minute? Explain your daughter's involvement in Habitat, if you will, please.
Sure, I will, and then she'll be mad at me. She's the president of the board. She's, you'll notice, she's more efficient than I am. She's a good, hard-working girl. She can swing
a hammer too.
Oh yeah.
Not afraid to.
No. Oh no. She's not afraid of man nor beast. I tell you. I've seen her hunt bear with a stick. Not really. But anyway, I think the whole setup there is miraculous, and I understand that there are areas. Ours covers more than one county, our Logan County one. We have what, Menard?
No, we don't. Menard has one of their own. Each county has their own
habitat.
Separate habitat, yeah.
Okay.
McLean County, Sangamon County, we had anticipated bringing DeWitt in, but that was such a long travel over there. We couldn't connect with them and get them to have enough people to work. We have a hard time getting enough people to build our homes, so we stayed in Logan County. We have several homes in. We have one in Atlanta, one in Elkhart. We have Lincoln has quite a few, of course.
Yes. So it's not just Lincoln. It's
not just Lincoln. Yeah, we have houses all throughout the county.
And 3 in Mount Pulaski.
We got 3 in Mount Pulaski. That's right.
I think I was over working on the one in Elkhart.
Okay.
I have limited talents in the home building industry, I'm afraid. But at any rate, you've on your 21st house, and all volunteer. How long have each of you been with Habitat? Do you have any idea?
I've been with them for over 25 years because I was the one that got this ball rolling. And Leonard was in there with me on it, of course, with George Dom.
Yes.
And we started this whole program in January of that year. And we decided, oh, maybe we could get something going here. So we had a couple of informational meetings and got the people from Chicago to come down and talk to us. And that's when we finally got started.
How many of there were you in those very first
first meetings? There was about 10 or 12 of us in the first group. And then we just kind of multiplied from that and have moved forward since then. So
that's amazing, though, that you started with that many.
Yeah.
Now, mind you, folks, this is motivation to do something for somebody else.
Yes.
That's the key to me in this. That's why
I'm very critical. Yeah.
I'm so enthusiastic about what you folks do. Leonard, you've labored in those bushes a long time. And now that maybe your health won't let you do some of the things you used to do physically, but you're still vitally involved in Habitat. And the nice little touch, I just want to mention this right now, a nice little touch when the new residents of the new homes presented with the paperwork and the keys and all that, Mr. Krusemark makes sure that they get a new Bible to put in that new home. I always thought that was a nice touch, Leonard.
Well, it's an opportunity for them. This is a major change in their lifestyle, and for the people that get the house, if they use that opportunity to bring the family together, if they want to institute any new practice or anything new, now's the time to do it. And a lot of them do. But anyway, it helps solidify the family, and they really, most of them do really take advantage of that opportunity, and centered around not only building the family, but drawing them closer to the Lord in Bible study or devotions and stuff. And it just fits together perfectly.
To have a faith life, I think, makes raising your family easier too, because you have that system that backs you up. You don't feel that you're on the front line with these kids trying to figure it all out yourself.
Yeah.
I think it's a very important part of raising a family. Are most of the people that get the homes people who still have children in the home?
Almost all of them have children in the home.
And I suppose it can be a grandma with children in the home, too.
That is very true.
Sure.
The very first house we built in early '93. They had a blessing. As we were finishing the house, she was pregnant with twins.
Wow. Oh, boy.
So their house wasn't near big enough, but they survived, and they had, just in the last year or so, have paid off that house. It's theirs free now.
Yeah,
they don't have any more payments.
Let's talk about that just a minute.
Yes.
People, tell us the modus operandi that you build a house and you've through a committee or somebody, you select somebody, or they apply and then you go through their credentials and so forth? Is that the way it's done?
That's the way it works. They have to fill out the paperwork. We go through all the information that they give us, and we check their credit record. They have to have a job for at least a year so that they have an income. And then we select the family, and then we let them choose the house design and what they want to do with it. It's mostly people that are in substandard housing as a rule, and we're trying to give them a hand up, not a handout, is our logo.
That's
very important.
That's, I think, something that a lot of people who aren't as familiar as you are with Habitat don't understand. They think it's a big giveaway, and that isn't true at all.
No, there's no giveaway in this program. We actually have the house appraised, and then we take the appraised amount, and we have 2 loans for it at no interest. One loan is 70%, the other one is 30%.
That's just remarkable.
They make the 70% payment, and the 30% is given monthly free of charge from us to them as they pay off. And then at the end of it, we give them the deed to the property.
Also, they have to put in a goodly amount of hands-on time.
Sweat
That's
equity.
correct, yeah. They have to have 100 hours of service on their own home and 250 hours of service for a single individual if it's a single parent, or if it's a couple, it's 400 hours.
I recall there was a lady one time who got a new home, and of course she was ecstatic. The house that she had been renting had no furnace. It must have had a couple space heaters or something.
Boy, that's dangerous.
You know, you don't stop to think about these things, but I'm sure they go on time and again.
Oh, yeah.
There's another thing there. He mentioned that the family provides some of the labor.
Yes.
And aunts, uncles, cousins all qualify as part of the family's contribution in labor. We saw that in spades down at Elkhart.
Yes.
The whole community seemed like they were there helping, and it was really crowded, but we had a ball. We just had a ball because everybody was so enthusiastic about building a home for this family.
Yes. And you know, really, when you think about it, anything you do as a group, a congenial group, is always more fun than work. You know, you get to giggling over one thing and the next and what all, you know. And it is fun, isn't it?
Yeah,
Make
a couple of
new
our
friends.
church members even started speaking to one another.
And you always make new friends.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
right.
Oh, I'm
Well,
sure.
there's a common purpose. There's a commonality of what you're trying to do, what you want to achieve, and that sets the tone.
Yes, it does.
I find it remarkable that you've done this so well in these last 20 years, 21. You've had great success stories. Any ultimate failures? Now, I suppose that's almost inevitable at some point in time.
We have.
The law of averages comes up with something.
Yeah, we always have one. We had, I think it was the second house. Brewster and Joan Parker donated a piece of property to us, and it was an older home, and we rebuilt it. And we got the paperwork for the person that was going to get this home, and she had a daughter, a single mother, and she didn't make a payment for 6 months.
Oh, boy.
And we had to, unfortunately, evict her, and we now have a family in there that's been in there ever since, and it was, you know, that's some of the stuff that you end up with.
That's out of 21 homes.
That's out of 21 homes.
The law of probability says something's going to happen somewhere
That's
along
correct.
the line.
Yeah.
So
That is
it
correct,
can't ever be roses and wine.
Yeah, that is true.
Now, is it this house that you kind of teamed up with the building trades people? Was that quite a process? Did you have to clear it with Habitat and the school and on, or did it just kind of come together neatly?
Well, came together. I don't know if you call it neatly, but it came together. But the process was just getting the school in on it and getting approval through the school board to let the kids come and do this. Habitat has no problem where we get our workers. So it was just more of the
Is your motto, you all come?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's correct. That is correct, yes. Yeah.
Which reminds me, you can always use extra volunteers.
Oh, that's for sure.
We ought to make that known as to how one can go about volunteering to help you. And there are other ways besides just standing there physically and sawing boards and hammering nails. Meals need to be prepared.
That's correct.
And that's an important thing. And having worked on that, those meal breaks are pretty nice.
They are nice, yes.
Well, and a little tea and crumpets, too, in the midday.
That's correct.
Yes, and that's important. So, there are people who say, well, I don't know anything about building. I can't even paint, And then, because that's pretty much the easy part. That's a part I can do.
Yeah.
But anybody can fix a meal for the people.
Yeah.
And enough so that they have cake and coffee for their break.
That is correct.
How would one go about making themselves known to be a volunteer, Bill?
Well, we have the warehouse on Woodlawn Road, and it is manned all the time. We have somebody there full time, and people can give their names to KK is his name or his nickname.
Yeah, I know.
And he will then get it to us as a board, or if Leonard or I know somebody or they know us, they can contact us too.
You might just devote a little minute to that warehouse. It's not just a warehouse where you are able to get some things when you're building a house. People can go there, just plain people, right?
That is correct. We have
and buy stuff at a reasonable.
We have a lot of used stuff there, building stuff. We will repurpose, I guess is a good word for it, a lot of things in there, and we put a price on it, and it's one of those things. Hey, well, how much will you give me for it? And, no, we got this much on it. Well, we want that. We'll give you this. Okay, that's good. And we move a lot of used appliances and repurposed furniture and those kind of things. We have a lot of help from the community. AAA Windows has donated a lot of their windows that are the wrong size, that they've got the wrong shipment from, have given to us. Alexander Lumber give us a lot of their excess stuff when they moved. So we had some new stuff that people can come in and buy. Well,
that's nice for you, and it's nice for people who are looking for a new bathroom window or what have you.
It's a benefit to the whole community.
Yes.
I was there one time and a fella came in and said, our stool got all clogged up and we need a new stool. And where am I going to go? I can't afford no new stool. And the fellow taking care of the warehouse said, well, we just happen to have some donated. Wouldn't you? And he went home with a workable stool for $10,
Yeah, really. Yeah. See, now there are a lot of people who can't afford to go buy one from the plumbing supply place. So that's good for people. Some lady asked me the other day, she said, I've got a sewing machine and a brass holder for logs that you put by your fireplace. She said, do you think Habitat would want that? And I said, well, I should suspect. And how about people who redo their kitchen and get new countertops and things? I suppose you get some of that business too.
We get a lot of kitchen cabinets, a lot of vanities out of bathrooms and that sort of thing, yes.
Sure. Well, people should know that they're welcome to go there and shop.
Yeah. And that also will help build another house.
Because that's what the money's for.
That's our income. That's what we do with our income.
Right.
Now, how do you go about searching for a new lot or a new home that needs redoing, Bill? Let's say we complete this project, and now we're going to go on to another one.
We have a committee that takes care of purchasing or getting to people to donate property to us. We have had to buy a lot now and then, but not very many. We have a lot of lots donated to us, and right now we have a few lots where we can build our next house.
That's
so we're
wonderful.
not at a crunch time of looking for a piece of property to build the next house. We already know that we got a piece of property that we can put a house on. And
Now,
we
if
have
I
to
were-
pick the people, we have to pick the people, make sure they want to live
In
at
that
the
locale.
location that we have. Yeah.
So they get, if I were a prospective client of yours, you'd show me these lots and say, do you like this one or do you like that one? And
That is correct, yes.
well, that's a nice thing for people to be able to decide.
Yes.
You meet how often as a group to discuss?
Yeah, we have board meeting once a month, the first Tuesday of every month, 7 o'clock.
Well, that's why you said you saw sense last night.
Leonard, that keeps you up past your bedtime.
No, that's no problem. I love it. It's a community project, but people getting together for the benefit of the community is always pleasant. It's always a good thing.
Well, you see, you mentioned that two words, benefit of the community and benefit. Everybody in the community benefits from this because the community has helped out some individuals who are in dire need, and I would suspect that word dire probably is very well selected.
That is very true.
So, you see, the community is helping somebody else, and that's, I wasn't much of a Jimmy Carter fan, but I want to say this about old Jim. He retired to obscurity, kept his mouth shut. He and his wife too, I might emphasize that, put a lot of time in on Habitat for Humanity, and that's really a commendable thing. He doesn't need to do that.
And they still do.
Yes.
Nor do you and Leonard need to do that, but you do it because it's ingrained in you to serve
Makes you
others.
feel good.
Yeah.
But, volunteering is a good thing. Now, your wife, Barb, volunteers at the hospital.
That is correct, yes.
Yes, and goodness knows they need them, and that's the department I worked in when I worked at the hospital. I loved those. I called them all my people, and I loved every one of them. And
Speaking
they
of
were
people.
happy to do it because it made them feel good.
Yeah.
And that's a thing about doing something for somebody else. You come away from it and you think, that was a day well spent.
That's what we have to do right now. We have to do something for somebody
here you
else because we got so involved in this, we almost forgot our sponsors, gentlemen. So go right ahead, Mr. Ash. Right back in the studio here live, WLCN 96.3, in case you have forgotten where your radio is set. We appear each Wednesday, Judy and I try to bring people and individuals that are contributing to the community in one way or another, and we have two outstanding representatives of our community as far as doing something for somebody else. Leonard Krusemark has been at this for many a year, even before Bill Sahs came here. Billy, you were kind of the genesis, the founding of Habitat, which is something for which you can be very proud. You are building now the 21st. Where is this currently located, this new house?
The new house is on South Kickapoo, down below Angel Valley.
Yes.
It's called,
Uh-huh.
down below the hill, past the concrete plant. It's the best way to describe it on the left side as you're going down the hill.
Sure. All righty. And when will it be ready?
We're actually going to have the what we call a house blessing
Yes.
on May the 7th, isn't it?
Oh, it's just
Leonard?
around the corner.
Which is next month. And then from that point, we turn the keys over to the individual that is getting that house, and then we have a little service we go through
Yes.
every time, and it's kind of neat.
It is. It's very neat.
Yeah.
It's very neat. Now, then I suppose since next month that home will have been completed, do you have your people then for the house that will follow that?
We have 3 or 4 applicants right now we're reviewing, and we will probably next month select a family. If not next month, it would be probably in July, June or July, one of the two, and probably get that house started maybe in the fall of the year to be our 22nd house. So we have several options of places we can go with this next house. So
how would people, if they thought they wanted to be a recipient of a Habitat home, go about contacting you and putting in an application for a home, possibly?
Well, we have what we call a short application. They can pick up at our warehouse on Woodlawn Road. They fill that out and get it back to us, and then we will take that and find out who they are and then give them a complete application for them to fill out. Once we get the information from them so we know they're interested, we can give them a full application so we don't have all that paperwork floating around all over the place.
Yeah. Have you ever had somebody make application and then back out?
Yes, we have. That happens
probably not
a lot, but that does happen.
Not infrequently.
And there are some applicants that just don't meet our criteria too.
Right. Well, hence the need for the application.
That's why you've been so successful, because you set a reasonable criteria.
Yes.
But somebody, they just can't say, well, this is fine.
Yeah.
If you weren't as careful as you are, you'd have had more than one house that didn't work out perfectly.
I'm sure that would have been the case, yeah.
Yeah.
Having the job and a source of income is very critical.
Yeah, oh gosh, yes. Yeah, you can't go into building a home without a good source of income, that's for sure.
However, if problems develop, we have found ways to
work around
stretch the limits a little bit so that people don't lose their home they've been working toward. The very first home was one of, and anyway, but we extended the loan a little bit and we're patient with them, and they finally got it all paid for. Now their home is debt-free, and they're happy to live in something they worked for and paid for.
That has to be a source of great satisfaction for the entire Habitat community, you and your board members, to see that fruition of something that's been in the works for so long. And suddenly, now we move on to something else.
Well, we're building community, though. We look back at the 21 houses that have been built, and what an addition that is to the whole community.
Oh gosh, yes. Yeah. Oh yes, yeah. You're building taxable property. That's important.
And that's very important, because a lot of people don't realize that we've taken a piece of property that's been sitting there doing nothing, and now the county has a source of income off of that piece of property now.
With all the chapters or organizations that Habitat has across the country, surely there must be some that haven't been as judicious about their searches as you have, who've run into financial troubles.
Well, I'm sure there's been more than one that has had that problem.
Yeah.
Well, we have an advantage here, and it's the closeness of the community, and you have a better chance to know who your applicants are and can better vet them.
Yeah.
As opposed to a larger community. They just become names, and that's not so here. Mr. Krusemark, I'd like to say, while we're on the air, Judy and I'd like to say good morning to Betty, who's a resident up there at Hopedale. Leonard gets there every day, just as sure as the clock comes around. He goes to Hopedale, and take my hat off to you, sir. For that's another service.
Well, she's still my sweetheart.
She
Well,
is,
absolutely, yeah, absolutely. Well, we wanted to recognize her. The need for housing is an ever-present thing, and do you have situations where somebody just seems like they're so desperate, but they can't quite come up to the criteria?
Yes, unfortunately,
I suspect that's the case.
Yeah, unfortunately, we do have those situations, but there's not a whole lot. Our hands are sort of tied.
Yeah, well, sure.
But we have our criteria set up, and that if they don't fall into that, we have to move on to the next application.
Yeah. But now you do have help for people in that there's a little bit of budget counseling that goes on.
Yes.
That can help them. People who've never had a home before, if you've always rented, you don't know about if the furnace goes bad, you'll be wanting to get a new one,
Yes.
And how you budget for these kinds of things, and you help people with that.
Yes, we have built into the house payment an escrow account that goes towards insurance, taxes, and a repair fund that is set aside for each family, and those dollars are kept there. So if they have a water heater go out, or if they have a furnace that has a problem, there's some money there that we can extend to them to help defer the costs on that too.
Yes, and I think that's a very important service that you offer. Not only do they get a really nice house, it may not be palatial, but it's very, very nice home, brand new, but they also get help with figuring out how to manage all this.
Yeah.
That matters.
What about pets? Are they allowed in any of these houses?
Yes,
They are.
we don't restrict having pets. That's personal preference for the homeowner.
Yeah.
And a lot of them do have dogs or cats.
But it is their home.
It is their home.
So if you want to have a dog or an iguana, I guess that's up to you, right?
That's pretty much up to the homeowner,
I could just
Bill and I have dogs. We don't have an iguana.
I can just see Jim and his family walking iguanas down.
7 dogs and an iguana.
Professional dog walker of Central Illinois, right?
Yeah.
He'll take them all, big or small.
Yeah, he doesn't pull.
Leonard, you've been with this since its inception. Other than the fact that you're so, as a gentleman that you are, so vitally involved in the community, you take away anything else from your involvement in there?
Let me tell you how I got involved. There was some.
I remember we go off air at 10 o'clock.
There was a celebration of some kind going on in Lincoln one time, and I was walking around, and Bill Sahs and George Don were on the corner there selling 2x4s. And I said, why in the world should I want to buy a 2x4? And they said, well, you get to write your name on it. And I said, so? And he said, it gets put in somebody's house, and you're helping build their house. Oh, I said, tell me more. And the rest is history.
Yeah, and
been involved the next thing you know, I'm in there helping a little bit. It wasn't too important, but it made me feel good and be a part of it and work with other people who were helping out, and it just multiplied and it grows on you. My goodness, what a benefit that is to be an agent in this program with builds houses and gets people in decent housing that otherwise couldn't afford it. What a great feeling that is.
You're serving
to be
your
part of
fellow
such a campaign.
Absolutely.
Yes. And I bet that over the years, in all the stories you must have heard, you probably heard one or two that kind of put a little lump in your throat.
Happens every house.
Every house.
Yeah, I'm certain. Yeah, you get to know these people. The recipients of the house, we talked about sweat equity. They have to put in so many hours. but that means that you're working alongside them in many cases.
That's correct.
At some point in time during this construction. Churches have been a funneling point for your labor needs in some cases. I suppose if we urge the churches to put more effort towards that might be a good thing. Is that right?
We have probably 3 or 4 churches that are still involved with us almost on a monthly basis.
Is that right?
Yeah. They've
made that a part to be a part of their ministry.
Right. That is correct. Yeah.
Are there a lot of people that are like you, Leonard, in that they kind of got introduced and all of a sudden they were really drawn in?
Several regulars.
We have 5 or 6 regulars that are there for every house.
Every time. Yeah.
And the story that he's telling about the stud sales.
Yes.
Was the very first house, by the way.
That was.
Yeah. And it was on the corner of what is that? Pulaski and Kickapoo Street, I believe.
Okay, so somebody came with an innovative idea. We'll sell these.
Well, we had the studs donated to start with, and then we said, well, we charge people $5 to put their name on it, and then they'll build it in the house. So in 50 or 60 years, they tear the house down. Who's this guy?
See, now, did you get that idea through Habitat, or did one of you just say, "Hey, I got a thought"?
I think actually, I think that was George Dom's idea.
Was it?
To start with, because George and Wally did construction, and when I brought this information to them, when this all started, they said, well, if you want to build a house, we got a lot over here on the corner, we'll donate. And they were boom, boom, and that all started.
That's how it all began.
That's how it all began.
It came together just like a miracle, didn't it?
Well, there was one other little thing. You got somebody like Bill that walks around in the lumber yard and says, well, you know, there's an odd-sized window. That's been sitting there quite a while. You could just well donate that to Habitat.
Is he calling you a beggar?
Maybe.
He's a scrounger.
Well, good for him.
It's okay to be a scrounger. You know, neither be a borrower nor a lender be, but it's okay to be a scrounger.
That's right.
Well, also, realistically, this tax system, being what it is, it's an opportunity for somebody to get a tax write-off.
That's
and there's
correct.
nothing wrong with that.
That is exactly right, yeah.
Well, I didn't think about that. That would be true.
Well, you got to think about these things, Judy.
I know. I got to get smarter.
But then we've had donations up to a whole pallet, a gross of studdings, you know, $5 a piece?
Yeah.
See, so that it builds these little contributions.
I'm sure that you're just eternally grateful to these. You mentioned AAA and you mentioned Alexander's. I'm sure you're eternally grateful to them for saying, I got this odd-sized window or what have you.
Right. Yeah, they're really helpful seems like when we need it the most is when it really happens.
Life is kind of like that, isn't it?
That life is, yes.
Yeah,
You know, in a small community, each and every one of us have lived for the privilege to live in a small community like this because you're sure pulled together. But there's so many, and each and every one of them are important to their own right, but there's so many opportunities for somebody to drop $5 or $10 or $100 in the pot for. So how does one choose? There's some of us can only do 1 or 2 philanthropies, so we have to make a decision as to where we. So, but it's not untoward to think that maybe somebody might not have a family or something. They may have amassed a little bit of an estate. It'd be okay to leave that money to Habitat, wouldn't it?
It'd be very nice if that would happen.
Yes.
Well, each and every one of us, some can do a lot, some can do a little, some can do nothing. But those who can do nothing in a monetary way could step to the plate physically and help, even if it's passing to before to somebody else.
That is correct, yes.
Do you find that once people understand what Habitat is and what Habitat does, they kind of get emotionally involved?
It happens a lot. It's amazing how little the community knows, and they'll say, well, I didn't know that. And you explain to them what really happens. Well, maybe I'll get involved, and it's just like an ongoing thing. You almost have to explain it every week, and you just keep going.
Yes.
And that's why Judy and I want to bring you and Leonard Krusemark up here, Mr. Sahs. You guys are kind of the bedrock of what's going on, and building on everybody's ability to help in one way or another. Leonard, you and I are going to stick around a few more years to watch a few more houses go up.
I love it. I'll do it till my dying day.
I know that's a fact. If I know Leonard, I may have to help him up there. I better rephrase that. Not up there.
Oh, no.
I want to make sure we understand that.
Well, we can be enthusiastic because it's so good for the community, and if more people get involved in it, they all benefit. Everybody. It seems like it's a great atmosphere in the community to have the togetherness to do something really great like this.
Yeah, not everybody can give a lot, but most everybody can give something.
That's correct.
And they give something of their own self if they don't give in a monetary basis. Leonard Krusemark and Bill Sahs, we wanted to get you up here to talk about Habitat and let the community know about what you're doing, and we appreciate your taking your time this morning. Judy and I work kind of hard to kind of bring people of various interests up here to WLCN. We always try to close with a comment that hopefully is germane to the subject matter, and I found this. What is a Habitat house? Opportunity. When a family crosses the threshold of a Habitat house, they enter into a world of possibility. Thank you, Leonard and Bill Sahs.
Appreciate you inviting us.
Yes.
Thank you.